We all know these 6 stones of Marvel, or at least we think we do. In the comics, these stones are portrayed so differently that the MCU version almost feels like a light edition. Today, I'm going to walk you through each stone, one by one. First, how we saw them in the MCU, then what happens in the comics. And I promise, some of this will genuinely make you go, wait, what? If you're ready, let's begin. Space Stone, the Blue Stone, Tesseract, in the MCU. Okay, the Space Stone is probably the most well-traveled object in the MCU. It appears as the Tesseract, and this thing is literally everywhere. Hydra tries to use it in World War II, S.H.I.E.L.D. studies it, Loki steals it, Thanos takes it. At this point, it might even show up in your house. In the Avengers, Loki uses it to bring the Chitauri army to Earth. Then, in Captain Marvel, we learned the stone was actually in Mar-Vell's possession much earlier. And finally, in Infinity War, Thanos comes and takes it from Loki. Loki resists, Loki loses, the audience's heart breaks within the first 5 minutes. In short, the Space Stone's MCU powers, teleportation across space, opening portals, and acting as an energy weapon. In the comics, it's called the Space Gem. Functionally similar, space travel, teleportation, but here's the interesting part. When combined with the Soul Gem, the user can feel everything everywhere. The MCU never explored this. Also, in the comics, the stone alone can allow someone to exist everywhere in the universe at the same time. When Thanos uses it, he literally becomes omnipresent. The MCU didn't go that far, and honestly, good thing, because that would have been impossible to explain. Reality Stone, the Red Stone, Ether, in the MCU. Thor, the Dark World. Okay, yeah, most people try to forget this movie, but it introduced us to the Ether, aka the Reality Stone. Malekith, leader of the Dark Elves, wants to use it to plunge the universe into darkness, because apparently he didn't have a happy childhood. The Ether appears in liquid form. It enters Jane Foster and takes her over from the inside. And in Infinity War, this stone really shines. Thanos takes it from the Collector, and that scene, Drax, Mantis, Star-Lord, he turns them into unreal versions.
Reality can be whatever I want.
Star-Lord becomes balloons, Drax turns into rocks. Visually, that's peak Marvel creativity. The Reality Stone's power, rewriting reality. You decide what exists and what doesn't.
Now.
In the comics, called the Reality Gem. And it's not just about illusions like in the MCU. You can create any reality, any alternate universe. If you imagine a universe, it becomes real. No physical laws limit you. Adam Warlock uses it very differently in the Infinity Gauntlet storyline to repair reality. We saw him in Guardians 3, but not at that level. Let me ask you, do you think the Reality Stone is overrated? Write in the comments. Power Stone, the Purple Stone, Guardians of the Galaxy. Star-Lord steals the orb. Chaos begins. This stone is so powerful that normal people literally burn to ash when they touch it. Star-Lord can hold it briefly because he's half celestial. But even then, the Guardians have to hold it together. Ronan puts it in his hammer and can destroy a planet with a single strike. Thanos uses it to absolutely wreck people.
The head.
In the comics, called the Power Gem. Similar function, unlimited physical strength, amplifying all energy. But here's the key difference. It boosts the other stones. It amplifies the effectiveness of every gem in the gauntlet. The MCU implied this, but never explicitly stated it. According to the comics, the gauntlet is incomplete without it. Time Stone, the Green Stone, Eye of Agamotto. In the MCU, Introduced in Doctor Strange, and honestly, this was the smartest introduction. Strange rewinds time, traps Dormammu in an infinite loop, bargain for it. He literally treats time like a toy.
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Come to die. Your world is now my own.
But its most dramatic moment is in Infinity War. Strange looks at 14 million possible futures. They win only one. Then he gives the stone to Thanos in exchange for Tony's life. If you shouted, "Why?" at the screen, the answer comes in Endgame. This was the plan all along. Peak storytelling.
Iron Man.
In the comics, called the Time Gem, it doesn't just rewind time, you can physically travel to alternate timelines, change any moment, rewrite the past. The MCU handled this differently in Endgame with the Quantum Realm, but didn't show the Time Stone at full power. Also, in the comics, a character named Kronos tries to obtain this stone, something never shown in the MCU. Mind Stone, the Yellow Stone. In the MCU, this one confused everyone. In the first film, it looked blue in Loki's scepter. Later, we learned the Tesseract's energy was hiding it. It's actually yellow. Its MCU story is incredibly rich. Loki uses it for mind control. Hydra uses it to give Wanda and Pietro powers. Ultron uses it to create Vision, and it ends up in Vision's forehead, literally becoming part of his being. In Infinity War, Thanos rips it from Vision's head. Painful scene. Wanda destroys it. Vision dies. Then Thanos reverses time, brings Vision back, and takes it anyway. Wanda loses everything, twice. In the comics, the Mind Gem. It connects you to every conscious being in the universe. You can communicate with all thinking life. Even more, you can create a collective universal mind. All consciousness merges into one. The MCU touched on this slightly in WandaVision, but never showed its true scale. Soul Stone, the Orange Stone. This one stayed a mystery until Infinity War, and the journey to get it, heavy. Vormir, Red Skull, a soul for a soul. Thanos has to lose Gamora, his own daughter. That scene works so well because Thanos actually feels pain. In Endgame, Natasha and Clint face the same choice. Natasha jumps. The sacrifice earns the stone, but something doesn't sit right inside us. The mysterious part, it contains a soul realm. At the end of Infinity War, after the snap, Thanos sees young Gamora. That's inside the Soul Stone. This detail comes from the comics. In the comics, here's where the MCU differs most. The Soul Gem has its own will, almost sentient. It can absorb all souls, living or dead, creating an inner dimension called Soul World. Beings continue to exist there after death. Also, Adam Warlock carries the stone for a long time, in his forehead. The Vormir sacrifice mechanic is entirely an MCU creation. The seventh gem, Ego Gem. Wait, there's a seventh stone? Never seen in the MCU. It appears in the Infinity Abyss storyline. The Ego Gem contains the consciousness of a being called Nemesis, a primordial entity that existed before the universe. Out of loneliness, it shattered itself into the 6 stones and the Ego Gem. The MCU never explored this, probably never will, but the idea is mind-blowing. The origin, Nemesis. In the MCU, the stones come from 6 singularities before the Big Bang. In the comics, they come from Nemesis, a godlike entity. And when all stones reunite, Nemesis could return. That's far darker than Thanos' goal. Thanos wants balance. Nemesis? Total annihilation. Not balance. Reset. Adam Warlock and the true owner. In the MCU, Adam Warlock appears in Guardians 3 with a limited role. In the comics, he's central to the Infinity Gauntlet story. Thanos uses the stones first. Warlock gathers them, tries to use them for good, But the living tribunal, the universe's judge, intervenes. No one should wield that much power. The MCU never explored this dynamic. Limitation. Stones only work in their own universe. Very few people know this. In the comics, Infinity Stones only work in their native universe. In another universe, they don't function. This rule appeared in the Avengers versus New Avengers storyline. The MCU hasn't addressed this. It makes the stones more fragile and more debatable. Infinite power isn't truly infinite. Now let's take a step back. The MCU brought these 6 stones into pop culture brilliantly. Thanos' story, the sacrifices on Vormir, the Mind Stone in Vision's forehead. These are now cinematic history. But the depth in the comics, Nemesis, the 7th stone, universe limitations, Adam Warlock's true role, these are treasures the MCU hasn't touched yet. Whether the MCU, now deep into the multiverse era, will explore these ideas is still an open question. Final question. Which of these stones would you want to have? Write in the comments. Also, check out my video where I analyze all of Black Panther's powers using the link. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook.